Another week here at Grand Slam Sports. I'm Jay Saj.
I'm Charles Foster.
And I'm Samuel Gailey.
And we'll begin things talking about the two Monday Night Football games, beginning with the Titans and the Dolphins. Titans going into Miami and winning that one 31-12. The Dolphins guys just look out of sync.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. The Titans offense was starting to finally look like it's what they've been hoping. I mean, this is the Titans offense that brought in a lot of people during free agency. Their defense we already knew was going to be good. So, I mean, this is what the Titans I expected to see, especially against a battered up Dolphins team.
I think that when we're talking about quarterback play, I think the Tennessee Titans obviously had the upper hand there. I mean, I think you're going to go into depth here in a second about how Tua is important to this team. Tyler Huntley coming in only a week or two into being a full-time Dolphins signed from the Ravens practice squad. He looked like a guy learning the playbook. And I think that really limited a lot of what the Dolphins could do offensively.
Looking over the Titans, though, the injury to Levis, Rudolph came in, filled in quite decently for the Titans, though.
I mean, yeah, this is the Titans team with all the weapons. And speaking of injured quarterbacks, we were talking earlier and you mentioned upon it. I mean, I think this shows the importance that Tua has for this team. I mean, Tua, he's no superstar, but he is very important. He knows the plays. He gets the job done. To me, I think that the importance for that Tua has towards this Dolphins team was shown tonight. I mean, Monday.
Yeah. And looking into the other Monday night game, the Seahawks and Lions, those two teams always provide a banger of a game. Once again, another one, 42-29. The Lions get the victory at Ford Field, guys.
And I mean, in an open NFC, this is an NFC that's not too stacked. Honestly, we could be looking at a playoff matchup right here. I love this matchup. They always put on good performances during the regular season. I have no idea why the Lions and Seahawks always put on bangers. These are two very good teams. I think it showed in a very close game with the Lions coming out on top.
A close game? I mean, what was the score?
I mean, it was close the entire game.
I know, until the end. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think the Lions had it in the bag almost the entire time. Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks posed some threat, I think, but that's where the Lions, sort of the superstar core right there of the offense, really kick in, right? You have Jahmyr Gibbs running in for a touchdown. You have David Montgomery. You have the weapons of Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I know that, Jameson Williams is also a big factor in this offense nowadays. I think they are. Oh, Sam Laporta. Gosh, how could I forget him, right? I think the Lions had a great idea of what they wanted to do in this game. They came in, they executed it. To your point, yeah, it was a little tight, but I think the Lions showed why they're contenders again this year for a reason.
But how about Jared Goff? 18 of 18, perfect on the day passing. Jared Goff has just been amazing ever since arriving in Detroit.
Absolutely. And it's kind of was shocking coming into that game because this is a secondary for the Seahawks that looked very good. But, I mean, this right here shows you weapons galore with the Lions. I mean, they have literally every position is full with someone that you could throw it to. Even the Seahawks defense could not stop at this Lions team. They're going to be terrifying. We
talk about good games. Let's look at a great game. Last night, Thursday Night Football, the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into overtime, 36-30. Kirk Chains gets the victory.
Absolutely, and I mean, I said it in the beginning of the year on one of our short form videos. The Falcons were one of my favorite teams coming into this year. I love the Falcons. I mean, their offense, it's loaded, and their defense got better over the year too by bringing in Judon and Simmons. I mean, this is a Falcons team that looks fantastic, and going against a Buccaneers team that also looks good. Game of the year so far for me.
Definitely, I think Kirko at the end, I mean, if you guys saw that interview, especially at the end, Kirko at the end was swagging and surfing just a little bit to get that dub. I'm really excited for him. I think the Falcons have been mediocre for a long time. They made a lot of changes in the offseason. They look dangerous. And yesterday, that Drake-London connection was finally there. 10 catches, 10, 11 catches. I loved it.
Darnell Mooney, he has been revitalized in Atlanta. He had a great game. I think he received his own twice in that one. But Kirk Cousins, the first quarterback since 2021 to get 500-plus passing yards since Joe Burrow, I believe that week 14 of 2021, 509 yards through the air.
I mean, Kirk Cousins, he proved last year that this is what he does. I mean, last year, even though, yes, not an amazing season, in the first 4 weeks, he led the league in passing yards through last season. So, I mean, when he has weapons, Kirk Cousins, he gets it done.
I think Darnell Mooney right now is Jordan Addison. That was on the Vikings. His numbers was fantastic. Jordan Addison last year, he was wide receiver 2 in fantasy. Put up the same numbers of Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney hasn't really got good quarterback play. I mean, he had Justin Fields, where he got mediocre play, but now he has a decent quarterback. He's really showing his stuff. I mean, that one drop he had in like 1 minute 30 seconds left in the red zone, he dropped it. Didn't let that get to him. Got himself back up. I'm so happy to see these young wide receivers, especially flourishing under Kirko.
So the NFC South, maybe a better division than some thought. You get the Saints, you get the Bucks, got the Falcons on the division, and you got Carolina, of course. But looking into some trade rumors, Davante Adams maybe leaving Las Vegas. Has supposedly requested a trade. The Jets, the Saints are two of the big ones, maybe even the Cowboys. What do you guys think?
I've seen a lot of things. I'm a Jets fan, so obviously I'm going to say I think I would love to see him in the Jets, but I'm being realistic here on what would actually be the best fit. The team with the most cap space right now and the team that can make the biggest splash, to me, the Commanders. The Commanders with him, Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels already playing really well, and they have the most cap space right now currently for this season. I think that they would be allowed to take in a Davante Adams and give Jaden Daniels, who has arguably been the best rookie quarterback so far, give him a weapon like Davante Adams.
Mine's got to be the Steelers. I think the Steelers look really good right now. And to add a number one wide receiver, I like George Pickens, but to add a number one wide receiver threat, as well as Justin Fields' legs, and as well as a run-first offense, I think will bring a second dimension. I think I like Charles' Commanders, but I think the Steelers will be a better fit for him, just volume-wise.
I think his preference will be to go to New York and pair back up with, his quarterback in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. But I could see him going to New Orleans if they can afford him. Because, it's Derek Carr. He played with Derek Carr for 2 seasons in Vegas. And, obviously they have that connection back from college. Yeah. And the Saints, they could use him, especially with the NFC South being the way it is right now. Saints are right on the cusp of being a playoff team. They have an easy schedule the rest of the way. They could use another big-time receiver like Adams to pair along with Olave.
I think if we're being legit, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's going to probably be the Jets. He's said it, that that's where he wants to go, and that if the Raiders will allow it, he would want to go there.
Right.
Now, obviously, it's a business, but I think we're going to see him in a Jets uniform in a few weeks.
I don't think it's going to be the Jets. I think that it's a bit risky, because if Saleh does this, if he gets Davante Adams, and then they don't win out the season, I think that's Saleh's head. I think Saleh stays conservative a little bit, especially when his job's on the line.
Yeah. Looking into another AFC West receiver who's now going to be out for quite some time, Rashee Rice, getting hit by his own quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. And rumors from ACL, they had officially ruled it that, but he is on IR now, Rashee Rice. How are the Chiefs going to look without their what was number one target this season?
So looking more into it, they have confirmed it's not a torn ACL. From what I've seen, reports are saying it is not a torn ACL, but it is still an ACL injury, which will likely put him out for 4 to 6 weeks. So regardless, they're going to be missing Rice for a long time. So this round kind of shapes up what was already kind of a rough receiving core with Kelsey having his worst year so far. Where do they go now? I'm really interested to see where Mahomes is going to be able to throw it to.
Kelsey. What? Especially, you're looking at some of the offenses nowadays. The tight end gets off the blocks, he chips, and then he goes out, picks up 5 yards. I think Mahomes is smart. I think he's going to get the ball where he needs to go, and I think you're going to see a lot of Mahomes on the run as of right now. I feel like he's going to use his legs.
You still have Xavier Worthy, obviously the first-round pick they got for a reason. You have Hollywood Brown coming back from IR in the next week or two. So you're going to get those weapons. He's still going to have options to throw to, but obviously Rashee Rice was that main guy that he was looking towards this season. He's been a phenomenal receiver for Mahomes to use.
But the thing is, my problem with Xavier Worthy is that he played in the first game, played spectacularly, 2 touchdowns, not a peep since. And I think that's sort of my problem with sort of saying that Xavier Worthy is sort of that next level target for Mahomes at the current moment, is that he struggled against the Bengals. He maybe had two passes thrown at him, 1 catch for 5 or 6 yards before he got closed down. Worthy, not there yet for me.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm looking over to the AFC South now, and the only winless team in the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, obviously very hyped out of college, had one good year with the Jaguars, and then when they made the playoffs, won a playoff game against the Chargers. But can we consider him a bust as of right now?
It's hard for me to consider him a bust right now. I think that he has been worse than I thought he would be. This was one of the worst quarterback draft classes of all time, and he was like the one bright spot, and he's not been. But the Jags, they have the weapons. Honestly, I could not tell you why they're bad. Looking on paper, this is a fantastic team. I have no clue what has been the cause. I don't know if it's lack of motivation, coaching. I don't know what it is, but the Jags should not be winless.
We're looking for a play. You say the Jags should not be winless. It's the quarterback play. That last game where they got blown out by the Bills. It was the quarterback play. It wasn't the receivers not getting over. Yeah, you can argue that Evan Ingram wasn't there. You can argue that Christian Kirk wasn't on his best game. You can argue X, Y, and Z, but when it comes down to who's taking the snap, who's dropping back in the pocket, do I consider Trevor Lawrence a bust? No, but he's definitely MIA for me.
I would have to agree. As we head now into our Pick 6 segment, we're going to begin things with Charles's team as they will take on the undefeated Sam Darnold MVP season Minnesota Vikings.
Let's see how biased he is.
I'm having a rough time with this game. I think that the Vikings, yes, they are going to look fantastic, but I still have the Jets slightly taking this one out. Their run defense has not been amazing, and Breece Hall, he's due. I do believe that the Jets, they squeak this one out. For
me, I got the Vikings here. The Jets' run defense does not look impressive. Jordan Mason ran all over them. They bottled up Mondre for my Patriots, but just one game. I think the Vikings look good. They're going to continue looking good.
I'm going to take the Vikings as well in this one. I just don't see the Jets, after losing to Bo Nix, I don't see them recovering and beating the Vikings, who've been the hottest team in the NFL so far. Now we're going to move into a very good AFC matchup. That'll be the Texans and Bills.
Wrong Texas team.
Wrong Texas team.
Wrong Texas
Graphic
team.
people. Wrong Texas team. It's the Texans and the Bills. I'll begin this one off. I'm going to pick Houston in this one. Buffalo's been hot, but I like what Houston has. I think they're going to recover because they've been kind of iffy on offense lately, but Stroud, he has those weapons. They're going to beat Buffalo.
I'm going to go with the Texans here. I think the Texans, once again, just like you said, the weapons. I don't think that this Bills team is going to have as much fun as they've had against some of these other teams. Give me the Texans.
Why am I always the odd one out here? I'm going Bills here. I think Josh can have a bounce back, or not a bounce back game, but a game to continually improve on. I think James Cook's going to look really good. I think Dalton Kincaid's going to find himself some more targets, but it really depends on the health of Shakir.
Looking into an AFC North battle now, the Ravens and the Bengals. Obviously, the Bengals have been struggling, guys, but Sam, I'll begin with you. We have Ravens, Bengals. Who you got?
Bengals. I have the Bengals here. I really do. I think Joe Burrow is due for a game. I think Jamar Chase is due for a game, and I think the Bengals are due for a win. Big one.
The Ravens just absolutely outplayed the Bills, and Derrick Henry looked fantastic. I think Derrick Henry's finding his stride. I think Derrick Henry's going to find his stride again against the Bengals. Give me the Ravens.
Give me the Ravens as well. Derrick Henry is absolutely going beast mode so far in the season. Now heading into an AFC East matchup, the Dolphins and Sam's Patriots. I'll begin this one off. Give me the New England Patriots in this one. The Dolphins just look out of sync. I can't pick them right now.
I agree. This might be the first time anyone's ever going to say that we might fully pick the Patriots. I'm going with the Patriots as well. I think that the Patriots, in my opinion right now, is just a better team.
Give me the Patriots. We're going to squish the fish. I think we just look like a better team. It's like kind of a battle of the dumpster fires here, but I'm gonna stay true. I'm gonna go with my Pats.
Going through the last two now, Raiders and Broncos. Should be an interesting one, honestly. Two teams that have struggled a little bit to begin the season. I'm gonna begin this one off and pick the Raiders, though. I just don't trust Bo Nix.
Yeah, no. After what Bo Nix just put up, I'm gonna stick with the Raiders as well. I think that they won't have the rain to rely on this game. Give me Raiders.
I chose the Raiders. I don't think there's really any discussion. I mean, Javonte Williams looked great in that last game. Yeah. But I think Raiders just have too much.
Last one, real quick, guys. Cowboys and Steelers battle of two historic teams.
There we go. Look, we got the star now. I got the Cowboys here. Cowboys look out of sync, but they'll get this win.
Give me Steelers here. I got them taking the edge on this one.
Not after losing to Indy. I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Give me the Cowboys in this one, Dak Prescott. Now we'll move into our last segment of the football segment, the rookie report. And Sam, Charles, we're going to begin with you on this one. Who you got?
Finally went with the baseball rookie. We're going with Jackson Chourio. He did a fantastic wild card series. Batted 500 in the wild card, 2 home runs, and he was the second youngest player ever to hit 2 home runs in a postseason game. He has been clutch. I mean, it's been one of the biggest issues with these young teams is how can a 20-year-old come onto a veteran-led team and win a playoff series. Chourio did just that. He hit fantastic. He was one of the number 1 prospects in the MLB. He's been the number 1 prospect in the pipeline for the Brewers for the past few years. Honestly, Chourio, he's my rookie this week.
Sucks that they're out, though. But we'll get into that in the baseball segment a little bit later. We'll move into my rookie. I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know you love this guy in our Madden League, Charles. You have the Jaguars. You love this guy. He had a great game against Houston, 6 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown in that one. And he's one of those LSU receiver products that has just been so good. And Charles, I know you as an LSU fan, the receivers they produce is insane. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and now Brian Thomas Jr. in Jacksonville. What is it about LSU?
I don't know what it is. I mean, this wide receiver university, I mean, it's one of the best universities when it comes to producing wide receivers. I mean, even just forgetting someone, Neighbors, as well, who's had a great year so far under a pretty questionable quarterback.
I mean, we talked to him last week too. I mean, that was my rookie last week. Is the LSU receivers are just going through them.
It's just what we do. It's what they produce well, and I think that Brian Thomas, he's one of the very, very few bright spots for the Jags.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think he's going to overtake Kirk as the number one wide receiver target, I think, at least for this year.
Agreed.
I like him.
And I mean, Gabe Davis is still there too. I mean, they have the options. It's just the Jags being 0-4 is crazy to me. We'll see if they can recover against Indianapolis this week.
Oh, yeah, Indianapolis always struggles, so it's going to be a watch and a half for you.
But 3 different sports today in the rookie report as we move into the last rookie, Sam's.
I'm going to go with my striker from Bayern Munich. I got Matthias Tell, youngster, a really young front 3 for Bayern of Olise, Tell, and obviously we have either Sane, Coman, or someone else besides Harry Kane.
Starting getting a sense of bias in this. You've chosen 2 in a row of Bayern players.
No. I checked Yamin Lamel yesterday.
Oh, was it?
Last week.
I thought you did Olise.
Barcelona. Whoa. Hold on.
Still some bias there.
He's played 54 games in the Bundesliga with 12 goals and 5 assists. He comes from League One side. His upside is amazing, especially in my career mode in FIFA.
I mean, yeah, he's been great in the Bundesliga. We'll see if he can continue that. But we are going to get into some soccer talk next. We got Champions League, Messi, a whole lot more coming up next year on Grand Slam Sports. Some soccer with me and Samuel Gailey. We'll get into some soccer talk now, heading back into the Champions League. The second match day of both that and the Europa League have concluded. Some great matchups, some big upsets. Sam?
Oof, man, we're going to take a look at the table right now. I mean, you're talking about my Bayern falling to Aston Villa yesterday, 1-0. Had a lot of chances to put it away, but let's take a look at the table as it stands right now. Atop the Champions League table, we have Dortmund, Brest, Benfica, Leverkusen, and Liverpool. I did not see Liverpool going high as they are with the new coach, with the new system they're sort of playing, as well as Benfica and Brest in League One, who's under PSG, who's looked good this season. I'm really surprised. The one team that I did not seem, at least in the Champions League, we'll get to Europa League here in a second, that I was shocked to see was Bayern, Barcelona, Madrid, all near the bottom, Jason.
I mean, but it's also, with the new format, you're playing harder teams earlier on. So this is kind of hard to top their 2 match days. I mean, there's still 6 more to go. So it's going to be difficult to tell how good these teams actually are after just 2 games. Because some teams are playing worse teams, and some teams are playing better teams. I mean, obviously, you got teams like Brest up there who I'm sure they won't last much longer up top of the Champions League table.
I mean, that's the best part about soccer, though, right? You know, you can go up 1-0, and then you're able to sit back and you can defend for a little bit. And I mean, we saw it yesterday. We're going to get into a little bit later some trouble in paradise with Real Madrid. But I mean, for me, the Champions League table, it's juicy.
How about the Europa League, though? You know who you don't see here? Manchester United. They've drawn both of their first 2 games. They threw away a 2-0 lead to Porto and tied that one 3-3 for
Harry Maguire
via a late header from Slabhead.
Oh my Lord, I can't believe they managed to get out of there alive. Manchester United needs to find answers, and obviously the coach is not part of it right now. A lot of arguments about, is it the coach, is it the players? It's starting to lean towards the coach for me now, Jays. But surprised to see Tottenham at the top.
Moving into the USA now, in Inter Miami, Lionel Messi, they won the Supporters Shield, meaning the best MLS team this season, so they will have that 1 seed in the playoffs.
I really love this. I really love this for David Beckham. I mean, you're going into this really having the lowest club in MLS, and you're like, hey, you know, like we're figuring out, we're going, and DeAndre Yedlin is your best player. Messi comes in, Busquets comes in, Suarez comes in, Jordi Alba comes in. Suddenly, you're winning the Supporters Shield for the first time. You're the #1 ranked team in MLS, and you're winning. All because of this man right here.
If they can win it, also teams like LAFC, LA Galaxy this year, they're both good.
I mean, are you going to vote against Lionel Messi? Well, are you really going to back somebody that's not Lionel Messi? Come on, Jason.
You got the pink tie for him even.
Yeah, exactly. I have that jersey. That jersey is super nice.
It is. So they win the Supporters Shield. We'll head into some trouble in paradise, like you mentioned, for Real Madrid and Kylian Mbappe. They lose 1-0 to Lille in the Champions League.
Very impressive from Lille. Jonathan getting that goal sort of really took off that lifeline, took off that heartbeat of Real Madrid. That high press really exposed how Their build out just isn't good, isn't the same. I mean, like you're talking about the exit of two legendary players, Sergio Ramos, Pepe. They built out a different way. Now you have Eder Militao. You have other guys trying to fill those two roles.
But when you have a front line like Madrid has, you just to me you can't be losing these games to Lille.
The reason I labeled this segment "Trouble in Paradise" is how much firepower is too much firepower.
It gets there.
There's a couple clips. There's a clip of Jude Bellingham winning back the ball, and he tried to pass it up. Vinicius Jr. was walking. Mbappe was walking. And if they ran back the ball, he could have restricted it for a counterattack. I literally saw a clip this morning, Jude Bellingham slamming his fist on the ground twice.
This is one of the best rosters we've probably ever seen in terms of talent, in terms of firepower. This is the most overpowered team, and if they get it right, they're unbeatable.
But the thing is about this, we saw this with PSG as well. Neymar, Messi. What was the third? I forget. But just for the
Suarez?
context, no, not Suarez. For PSG.
Oh, PSG? Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Mbappe. Sorry, yeah, it was Mbappe. And it just did not work. It just, there's too many individuals, there's too many egos. So much talk preseason about how is he going to fit in here? Is he going to go on the left? No, Vinicius there's on the left. He doesn't want to play the striker role. So where are you going to put Vinicius? You got Rodrigo on the right, who's on the uptrend. And you have Jude Bellingham behind him, who has to play a deeper role for Mbappe that he likes to drop in and find those areas. So suddenly you've taken out the threat of Jude Bellingham. Now Jude Bellingham has to work more. He has to get back. And then suddenly you're looking at, he's getting into Valverde's space. He's getting into Tchouaméni's space.
That we both expect them to recover from this loss and just gel a little bit more as the season goes on. But we'll head now into Arsenal, who look pretty good.
They look good. Am I in on Arsenal right now doing anything big in the Premier League? I don't think so just yet. They do look good. You're Manchester City, 2 draws in the last 2 weekends.
Yep.
They don't look convincing. I think they're minus Rodri at the moment as well.
Yeah, with the loss of Rodri, this has opened the door up for Arsenal and Liverpool to win the Premier League this year.
Rodri was the facilitator between Man City. Arsenal's hot on their heels. Arsenal look good for me. I think that obviously Saka on the right poses a great threat. Trossard and Martinelli on the left, a sort of a interchangeable combo. Jesus looks decent up top, but it's really that pairing of Saliba and Declan Rice in that backfield. Declan Rice sort of sitting in as that central defender, shielding them from those counters. Very impressive. I really like it.
It's good to see how far Arsenal have came in these last few seasons. But we're not going to head into the baseball segment. Myself and Charles will talk the MLB playoffs next on Grand Slam Sports. Wild card weekend is over, Charles. Baseball, whole lot of fun. 3 upsets in the wild card. We'll begin first, though, with the Braves and the Padres. The Padres, I expected this to happen. They get the win over the Braves. The Braves, the injuries, just too much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Braves were actually quite literally crawling in to the playoffs in the first place. Braves, they did not look nearly as good as they needed to. I thought that the Padres, they were what we both talked about as one of our dark horse teams to beat one of those higher seeded teams. And I think that the Padres, they showed exactly why. They just looked like the way better team.
I mean, the hitting was great. Obviously, Tatis had that home run in Game 1. And now they move into a matchup with their rival in the LA Dodgers, and I would favor them almost in that matchup.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, this is a Dodgers team that we know the history with the Dodgers. It's not a very good history. I mean, they have a fantastic team, but the issue is with the Dodgers, they have a problem of losing when it counts. Going against a Padres team like this could be a repeat of that.
Yeah, but the Padres win that series 2-0 in one of the 3 sweeps that we'll go through. Let's go to that one that went to Game 3, and that is the Mets and the Brewers. And this was one of the probably best wildcard series we've seen in this new format. Obviously, that home run from Pete Alonso gets them the victory. And what a timing for Alonso, who had been bashed that whole series for not hitting well at all. I mean, Alonso, he's known for his home runs. He's known for power hitting. He just couldn't get going in that series until it mattered most.
Absolutely. I mean, Pete Alonso, we looked at it in the beginning of the game. He had that little play at first base where he just completely missed the ball. And I remember a lot of people were like, oh, he's trying to have the worst last game ever because everyone's like, oh, he's leaving the Mets. And honestly, if I was him, I would leave the Mets. But he shut him up. A 3-run homer in the 9th inning. That is that's why, I mean, what's the saying? Like, how can you not be romantic about baseball? That's exactly what you want from a slugger like Pete Alonso.
And they even ticked on an extra run in the top of the 9th as well and made it 4-2, and the Brewers could not come back out of that one. Obviously, the Brewers had Churio. They had a great season as the NL Central champions, but where do they go from here?
I mean, I think it'll be the Brewers. They're always going to be at the top of that division. I mean, that's just what the Brewers are. The division sucks. But I think that the Brewers, they're a young team. There's a lot of bright spots, and for a team that lost their best pitcher last year to come in and still look pretty solid in all areas, I think they're just fine.
And now the Mets move into their own rival in the Philadelphia Phillies. It's going to be a tough one. The Phillies have been very good this season, but the Mets are somewhat hot right now. Obviously, Grimace just leading them through all of this, as they say. But the Phillies, Mets, that should be a really good round 2 matchup, Charles.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll go into now the Royals and the Orioles. This one I was very happy about as a Yankees fan. I did not want to face the Orioles in round 2, so we get the Kansas City Royals who sweep Baltimore 2-0 in Baltimore.
Royals team, they look fantastic. I mean, they have an MVP candidate in Bobby Witt. Obviously, we know it's going to judge probably, but a candidate nonetheless. They had Lugo, who was an ERA machine this year. They also have Reagans, but neither one of those two are probably going to start early against the Yankees. The Yankees are coming in. That's the advantage of the bye right there is they're not going to have to go against Lugo and Reagans most likely in either of those first 2 games.
You win those first 2 games, it's 2-0. You usually win the last 3 games, and you win the series.
Exactly.
But now looking over at Baltimore, they haven't won a playoff game since 2013. They just cannot get that playoff win. Last year, they were the 1 seed, the best team in baseball, got swept. This year, the best wild card team got swept. Where's it going wrong for Baltimore? I
think they're young. I mean, we talked about it last year, how I said that the Orioles, their timetable is how long they can keep this many good players without spending that much money. All of these guys are like under 25. I'm not worried about them. I'm more just worried about the fact that they're going to have to start spending money soon. And this top roster, it's not going to be top for very long.
And being not as big of a market as like the Yankees, the Dodgers, it's going to be difficult for them to go out and spend money. Obviously, they had very good pitching this year for the most part. Burns, correct? It was a very good season for the Orioles.
Yes.
So they can build off of this, obviously, but still 2 straight seasons of getting swept in the playoffs, not ideal.
Oh, no, obviously not ideal. I mean, picking up Burns, picking up Eflin. I mean, this team has – the sky is the limit. I mean, this is the best future team, in my opinion, in the league.
I agree.
It's just where does the money go? How much can they spend? That's going to be the big test for them.
How about them Tigers? Making the playoffs, squeaking in after a late push last month in September. Now they go and beat the Astros. And for the first time since 2016, the Astros are not going to be appearing in the ALCS. I'm doing the same thing as a Yankee fan, as much torture as they've put us through. But how about those Detroit Tigers and Tariq Skubal?
Oh, Tariq Skubal, I mean, that's my Cy Young for the AL right there. It's the year of the southpaws, I said. Lefties are in a premium right now. They look fantastic. The Tigers looked good. I thought they would lose game 2 because the pitching matchup was just not in their favor. It was in the favor of the Astros. But this Tigers team is hot, and we talk about it. That's what baseball's all about. We saw it with the Diamondbacks last year. We saw it with every single team, pretty much ever, that wins the World Series is the hottest team at that time.
Yeah.
And I think that the Tigers –
we're going to get into a little bit more about the Tigers in our next segment, but the Astros finally fall before the ALCS for the first time in 8 seasons. How do they build from there?
I think it was expected. First year without Dusty Baker. Verlander wasn't there. This team, they struggled to start off the year. I mean, the Astros were not the Astros that we knew. They're still a great team, but when they're healthy, they're going to be just fine. The Astros, they're always going to have money. They're Texas. They're a big market team. It's just, where does the future lie in that aspect? Now,
we've heard the talk the last few years about how important a bye really is, because it seems like these teams that get the 1 and the 2 seed often fall earlier than expected. We're going to see, Charles, in our opinion, which bye team has the biggest chance of getting upset in the divisional series.
Well, me and you, we both picked the same team, so
the
we
Guardians.
Get a whole 2 minutes to talk about this one. But the Guardians, it has nothing for me to do with them being the Guardians. I have nothing but respect for this team. This team is fantastic. The Guardians look great. Obviously, I mean, I'm not a big Cleveland fan, but they look fantastic. The team looks good. So the biggest question is, can they stop the freight train that's coming from Detroit?
I don't think they can. This is something that you see in your rearview mirror and you're like, oh no,
yeah,
they're here. The Tigers have arrived officially. And I mean, how about the city of Detroit's having a great time right now?
Yeah.
You get the Lions being good, Tigers being good. That city's having a great time compared to what it was 4 years ago.
Unless you're only a basketball fan.
That's true. Pistons fans, I'm sorry. But the Tigers, obviously, Tariq Skubal, we'll see what game he pitches in. Probably won't be 1 or 2.
I guess 2 or 3.
2 or 3 is probably going to be that area where Skubal will pitch. But if they can steal one of those first 2 in Cleveland, it's their series to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Schoolbowl, he's honestly as close to a sure win as possible. But, I mean, they're going against the pitching factory in the Guardians. It's a great pitching team, great hitting team. They have pop. They have defense. They have literally everything that you need. So the Guardians, yeah, they're going to be scary. Don't get me wrong. But to me, they're the least prepared team overall going against the hottest team. And, I mean, who would have thought last year that even before, like 3 months ago, that we'd be saying that the Tigers would be a threat to go and win a pennant.
But like you mentioned, in baseball, it's more important than any other sport about getting hot in October because if you're the hottest team in baseball, we saw last year with the D-backs, we've seen before, if you get hot in October, you're going to just roll through the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. And this is a team, they're young, they're fun, they're having the time of their life. They're way past expectations.
Yeah.
So at this point, I mean, losing, it doesn't really matter. They're way past expectations. They're going to be playing like that.
We'll see if the Tigers can't do the upset on the Guardians. We'll look into it next week on Grand Slam Sports. Make sure to join us next Friday.